This episode is brought to you by Maestro Sausage, the only sausage we use at Hot Tongue. They produce sausages specifically with pizzerias in mind, and you can tell. So if your sausage isn't hitting all the right notes, let Maestro lead the way. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your guy, Alex Koons here. We're sitting at Hot Tongue Pizza, and I am about to do something crazy. I'm gonna bring you an episode of Pie to Pie, baby. That's what we're doing. This one with Michael and Bohan of Schellz Pizza Co. They brought bread. Oh, did they? They brought 2 loaves of their Hokkaido, which is, I think, the same recipe for their dough. This beautiful loaf. Anyways, it was a great conversation. We talked about their tech background and how they got started cooking pizzas during the pandemic. They were not too far from Dough Daddy, Kyle, downtown LA, doing kind of the same thing. People were picking up. They were both doing squares, Detroit style, if you may, California squares, elevations. They ultimately decided to take the venture into a ghost kitchen, where they started selling out their stuff commercially right down there on the beautiful place, Crenshaw Boulevard. They opened up recently in a brick-and-mortar, and we talk about how they had to then close because of a roof situation and debris getting in the HVAC system, and it's a whole debacle. But we talk about kind of how their tech background has helped shape their pizza career. Also, they had a brief pop-up in like the Los Angeles Athletic Club, I think it's called, where my landlord himself, I was parking my car one day and he's like, you know pizza, right? Have you ever heard of Schellz Pizza Co? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, best pizza I've ever had. Shout out Lolly, one of the greatest landlords I've ever had. And that's hard to say here in Los Angeles. We talk about their vision for scaling. We talk about automation. He even talks about like maybe creating a space where he does people's DSPs, their Detroit style squares, and packages them out and has those delivered to your restaurant. I tell you, if I would pay top dollar for somebody to give them my recipe, bring back a complete par-baked Detroit style pizza. That, if I didn't have to press those out for the rest of my life, oh, it would be nice. We talk about expansion into markets, not just in Los Angeles, but China, Japan. There's a big vision here, and Michael and Bohan have a huge vision. It's a specific vision, and sometimes as restaurant owners, I think we can't get so far outside of our cutting board or the 4 walls that we're in all the time, and they have this great idea of where they want to see their brand and how they want to grow it. It was such a great conversation. So much to learn here, so much to gather from their story. And it was a pleasure meeting Michael and Bohan. They also gave us these sick stuffed animals that go along with their brand as well. And again, the mezcal, I can taste it on my lips. Anyways, thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate you guys. I hope you get open soon. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy this episode. Bohan and Michael of Schellz Pizza Co. MailWise Solutions takes advertising to the next level. They design, print, and direct mail, menus, flyers, and postcards for pizzerias all across the United States. I've worked with MailWise before. I tried to design my own menu, and Kevin said, hey, give me a stab at this, and holy shit. When he sent me back the menu, I was like, I thought I was okay at what I did, and his design team blew me away. There's no mailing contracts, so you're free to advertise on your own schedule. Click the link in the show notes or request a sample pack at mailwisesolutions.com. Let's get you some new customers today.
We ordered our this is courtesy of Bohan's Connect. So we get our boxes direct from China.
Okay. And they do a lot of good work over there.
Oh, we got an IKEA. So we did like, our aesthetic is like sushi restaurant, like the birch or the light oak type theme. That's kind of the look we're going. Just very plain, but understated, simple, easy to clean. We ordered cabinets from there. They came in like 5 weeks. But if you tried to order cabinets or that setup, like you said, it could be 3 to 6 months or longer.
Yeah.
Right? Depending on when everyone's remodeling their home.
Yeah.
Because those guys are all backlogged. And 30 grand for like a little thing, crazy price.
Yeah.
So was it like 2,500? I think our cabinets.
You can order a whole truck now from China, dude.
Or the labor to install is like almost
It's the same amount. Yeah.
Well, it was us.
You guys installed it?
It was in
See,
Mandarin.
I have no talent for that.
It's like the IKEA with the cams and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But dude, there's a million pieces,
Yeah.
and it's in Mandarin, and the print is like that tall, so I can't read it. Even with my glasses on, we don't know. The phone can't even pick it up. The font's so small.
Yeah.
So you can't do his Google Translate. And then also that doesn't help. It just tells you what the word is, and like not the intention of what.
Well, it's kind of like IKEA too. I usually throw the directions out and just like, I got this.
I have a picture.
Yeah.
I just need to make it look like this.
Yes.
And the door's on upside down or whatever.
You have like 7 to 10 screws at the end. You're like, ooh.
It's all wobbly.
Yeah, it's like, it's going to work.
Yeah.
It'll
and
work.
my buddy, he's a retired GC. He just came out there. He's like, where'd you get these from? I was like, China. He's like, looks like it. I'll help you out. So he anchor bolted some 2x4s in and then got it so we had something to anchor to, because otherwise it would just be on the wall. And it's a little suspect there.
Yeah.
So we got it to work. But
Was it a second generation restaurant?
it was a Pizza Hut Express.
Oh, perfect.
We had hoods,
Yeah.
separate fry station. So separate fry hood, a nice big, because they had the conveyor, so
Yeah.
a huge hood. And then we got little peerless ovens, so I unstacked them and put them next to each other. But yeah, it was a Pizza Hut Express, 2 bathrooms. It used to have a takeout window, but I think they changed that because of the crime. People probably try to break it out. But that was the reason why we took it. And we didn't want sit down yet. We just wanted to get the delivery going and the takeout.
Yeah.
Just move that. And then just slowly ramped up, like 3 days a week, became 5. And then we started doing the 2 services and hiring more people and training and all that stuff. So that took, man, it takes a while. It took 3 months.
How long had you been looking for that spot?
We were pretty over Crenshaw at that point. Like that's where we were at. We were on Crenshaw and Florence.
Crenshaw and Florence is where the Ghost Kitchen was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we were. I think after that was. We knew we had to expand to survive, so the POC was kind of proved out. But which is really where we were, because we come from tech. I was a sales guy, just started making pizza, and then she works for AWS. So we actually had met at a cyber conference I used to host in Pasadena, like years ago. And I remember when we tested this, so I had quaffed my career in 2022, and then we opened in that December 6th or December 4th, in 2022.
But we were doing like pop-ups before
Pop-ups and like pickups. And this all started because of COVID.
2020.
Dude, we lived down the street from Kyle.
Which is crazy. You told me that. Kyle, who we've had on the pod.
Yeah. I was texting you. I was like, dude, Kyle, that's my boy. Like, he was the one that put me in touch with Farley. Farley Elliott.
Yeah.
And then when they wrote about us, I had made a pizza for Farley. And like, this was just for something to do.
Yeah.
Like baking and all that. And also, like, I just wanted to make my own Detroit style. I
Yeah.
just didn't, because you're not going to buy one back then. So.
Back then we didn't even know who Farley was.
Yeah. The people were like,
Farley Elliott.
Well, I didn't really read
some
that
dude
stuff.
want
Like,
to get free pizza.
Well, you're a tech guy.
Yeah. I probably have read his articles. I
Of
just
course,
didn't
not
read
knowing.
the
I
author.
mean, like, you say Farley Elliott, it's like you know who he is.
Now
you know he is.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. So it's, because my buddy had made a fake Yelp profile. It was called Schellz Pizza Hole, and Kyle had heard about it, and Farley found. I hadn't met any of these guys. They were reaching out to people that had wrote reviews on there. They're my friends, wrote reviews. Hey man, this guy Farley's trying to get in touch with you because you couldn't call me, and there was not my profile or anything like that.
Yeah.
And like who? Like who's Farley? Why are you telling me this? And I'm like, dude, he's from Eater. Like I don't know what that is either.
Oh my God, you're not reading Eater?
I don't know.
That's
I'm not
actually,
reading Eater.
Fucking incredible.
And then I go and look him up, and I was like, this dude,
the editor-in-chief
this guy,
of Eater.
yeah. And then he cruised by and picked up a pie, and then Kyle was like, yeah, man, I know Farley. I was telling him about you. And then Kyle and I got in touch after that.
Yeah.
So that's how the story.
Well, it's funny because you guys are both making squares.
That's right. We were
Yeah.
doing the same style. So we're doing a par bake. He's doing a fresh dough.
Yeah.
We do more like California toppings and heavier stuff on there.
Yeah.
And he's more of the traditionalist with the brick cheese and all that.
Yeah,
we
from
don't
Detroit,
use any.
San Diego.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. When I found, because I thought he was from Detroit too. I was like, dude, are you from Detroit? And he's like, I'm from San Diego. And I was like, what? Like, whatever. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not from there either. So we'll just go with that.
Yeah.
And then I think I traded him. We were doing these cinnamon rolls for a while. during COVID. And so I would trade him cinnamon rolls for pizza, and I would just drive like 3 blocks over and pick it up. And then
you guys are
come back.
both living downtown.
You were both, yeah. He was like on 6th and Spring, and I was on 11th and Grand. And we're just cooking out of our crappy apartments in downtown.
I mean, he had some sketch stories. Was there ever a sus pickup?
We had no, I don't think so. I think a lot of times,
And you're just doing it via the internet?
Yeah, Toast had that thing, that online thing. You could just pay for online storefront.
Yeah.
And we did RSVP.
Okay.
Right. And then we were doing like 10 to 15, like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday per day.
Yeah.
And out of a little condo electric oven. So I was always overwhelming it.
Of course.
Pissing off the neighbors. So we used to not use the elevator to not get the HOA pissed off. So I would run the stairs. But there's a park between us. What's that Taiwanese place that's in the new?
Oh yeah.
There's a real hot Taiwanese place on Grand and 11th behind under Avon, the apartment condo.
Pine and Crane?
No, it's not Pine and Crane. It's across the street from the Starbucks.
Okay.
But they hadn't built out yet, and there's a park there, a parklet. So I would run down the stairs, and people would pick up in the alleyway in front of the park. It's like a drug deal.
Nice.
And but people would be sketched out. They're like from the suburbs. They're like, oh, like I'm downstairs. Am I in the right area? Because there's no signs or anything.
Yeah. You're like,
It's a small.
You're like,
alleyway.
yeah, I'll be right down. And then they come popping out, and it's me, like
with
with
a
this
hooded sweatshirt.
with all
got your
face
box,
mask stuff
yeah.
and like mohawk. And people are like, oh, I see a pizza. And then they just open the trunk. And I'm like, hey, are you so-and-so? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah.
They're all nervous.
Put it in the car.
Yeah.
Put it in the car. Don't make eye contact.
When did you decide to make the jump to be like, yo, this might be something
Yeah, that's
more
a good
than
question.
just like a fun thing to do during the pandemic?
Farley had said, hey, man, if you ever thought about doing this seriously, I would recommend it. Like, he had said that. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. That guy eats a lot of food. Like, he knows more about food than I know about food. It was really my wife, Bohan. She was like over the sales life and startups and terrible CEOs and all the stuff that, you experience early stage. It's kind of similar to a restaurant. Just look left, look right. None of these people are going to be here in a month, right? Or 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
And the attrition rate's high, right? A lot of egos involved. There's a lot of parallels. So that part I was probably already groomed for. The long hours and, the Yelp reviews and stuff like that, you're not prepared for because you open yourself up to a lot of criticism and, you're vulnerable. You're producing art from your heart.
Yeah.
And people are like, your song sucks. Like, I don't like it. Like, oh, okay. Thank you. But that jump was mostly influenced by my wife. And the ghost kitchen was like, let's go low risk. Like, let's not spend $250. Let's see if we can spend $30.
We also did the pop-ups before we started the Ghost Kitchen.
That's true. We did a couple pop-ups.
We did one in Lincoln Heights.
Yeah, thanks to Hack over at Gamboge. It was his spot over there. He owns that building, and then he leased it out to us for some pop-ups and helped run some of the ops and ran the bar and all that. So he took the beer and wine, and I took the food take. We just did pizza. And man, like a lot of people showed up. It was like, is this for like your restaurant or is this for the pizza? And it was for our pizza.
Yeah.
I just not really hip to like what's going on and being aware of that. So just keep making the pizzas. And it was a pretty good turnout.
Yeah.
So that was encouraging that we could probably, if we had our own setup, we could probably, be successful or go that direction.
And then you got into the ghost kitchen. Were you still doing pop-ups? Because I feel like
There was a gap.
There was a gap.
Yeah. That Farley gap and the pop-up gap was probably a year. And I was at another startup and we were trying to get that off the ground. So I kind of had just given up cooking out of the loft. It was just, and also like there's no more room. I couldn't store enough dough and all that. So I was just too busy with the other job. So we put that on pause and we had plans to come back to it though. It just didn't know when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So waiting for the right timing.
Yeah, and then like the ghost kitchen, that ghost kitchen was new, and then we had moved from downtown to Westchester, so like our demographic has changed. And
of
then
course.
Can we even find a ghost kitchen that's not cloud kitchen? Because I wasn't interested in that. I was interested in more privately owned ghost kitchens.
Interesting.
Yeah, cloud kitchens is Travis Kalanick from Uber. That's his thing.
So what's the difference between a cloud kitchen and a ghost kitchen?
The ghost kitchen, you do your own setup. Like they'll have a hood in the sinks, all the code stuff, which is great. And then you put your tables in your refrigeration and all that. And then they'll have shared walk-in space. So the one that we had, you got like two shelves in the freezer and 2 shelves, full-size shelves in the walk-in. Yeah. Which was cool because you can, and then if you wanted to, we added a low boy into there and you could put other refrigeration in your unit. I forget how many amps you had. So we were limited on draw. Power, yeah. But we had a 35 quart Hobart we started with, and then a single deck Peerless, which is still in my backyard, wrapped in a tarp.
Yeah, I saw you like trying to sell that.
Yeah, we're trying to unload it. It's been sitting there. It's only been used for a month because we ended up getting this catering order for like 40 pizzas. And I was like, well, we can't use this up. We're going to have to buy, we bought a quad deck Peerless to throw in there. And they're stackable. Yeah. So it fit. That's kind of that's why we chose that specific type of operation. Is our build outs, our equipment, and it has a locked door. So it's essentially like our condo or our unit. Yeah. And the other ones, you're kind of like, it's a big rack of flat tops and whatever, maybe not even a pizza deck oven and convections probably. And it's shared workspace. Yeah. So everybody's, making a mess or. Got it. Or you don't have access to that station. Yeah. Okay. Everybody cooks when people are eating. Everybody eats meals at the same time. So everyone's going to be fighting it out for some piece of equipment or a spot in the thing. Yeah, I don't think I could do shared. No, you'd freak out. Yeah. And you would hate everybody. Yeah. Yeah. Like I had like already raced through my mind. I was in the Army. So when I served in the Army, anytime you're in someone's touching your equipment or whatever, like what are you doing, man? Like get away from that. I clean that and I maintain it. Yeah, this is my gun. Yeah. Where may you like it, but this is mine. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's right. I purchased a Gosney Arc XL recently, and the bake has been so consistent. The bottom heat of the oven and the actual arc just cooks the crust to a caramelized perfection. There is no other oven, in my opinion, out right now that is going to give you these same results. Whether you are in need of a new oven for your pop-up or your dad's asking you, what is the best oven to make some homemade pizzas? Use our affiliate link down in the show notes. Smash the link. It helps the podcast. And more importantly, it helps you. My landlord, I'm pretty sure, loves your pizza. He lives behind me. Was there an athletic club that you guys would pop up at? Yeah. We had a residency there for a little while. He would come home because he knows that I am in pizza, and he'd be like, yo. Who's your landlord? His name's Lolly. Lolly. But he was a member of the club. Yeah, he's a member of the club. I think I remember him. But he'd come home and be like, he's like, that's really good pizza. And I was like, I've been following him. And he's like, you got to have that. But well, if he's watching, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Probably not, but he's just counting money. Yeah, probably. Yeah, or he's working out. He's both. Yeah, both. He's a good guy. But how did you get that residency? Because that's a pretty happening spot there. It was, it is, and they just the club has been sold twice. Oh, really? Yeah, COVID. So the original family owners they're just finally like, hey, we got to get rid of this. Plus, it needed a lot of renovation. The building's over 100 years old. Beautiful location, beautiful rooftop. Brandon, actually, shout out to Brandon. He's one of the managers over there who's been a bartender there for a long time. So I'd been a member there since 2012 or 14, and. Mostly didn't work out. I just went to the bar. Yeah. Because the bar was nice. Yeah. And it was walking distance. It was 5 blocks. Mm-hmm. So, and then when Bohan became a member and we got married, we were there quite a bit working out. And then Brandon was like, hey man, we have this pizza deck oven. They have an old electric deck oven. Yeah. From the 70s. They used to make bread. All right. Yeah. All the knobs are not from the appliance at all. Nice. So yeah, pliers and stuff. But it worked. And we tested it, and then the GM got some pizzas, and he was like, yeah, we could do this. Do you just want to work in this bar on the weekend? And I was like, yeah, we can put some staff in here. And it kind of worked out. Yeah. Where we slung pies out of there. We have a kid working there every weekend. Yeah. Our Way college kid, he's 18. He wanted to just work 2 long days. Yeah. So he would come in at noon, I think. Yeah. And he'd work till 10. And he loved it because he got to go and take naps in the daytime on shift. We just let him work and pay the whole time, and he handled it by himself. It wasn't super slammed, just kind of consistent but slow. Yeah. And we only sold one size, and we kept the toppings but we didn't go like full overboard with all the gourmet stuff. And then I think we invested in a double door freezer and a little tiny lowboy to make that work. So,
and were you doing this while being in the ghost kitchen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Bohan and I would be usually in the ghost kitchen, and then we'd sometimes would peel out from the ghost kitchen to come over and support. I remember Cinco de Mayo was pretty bad. Like I showed up by myself and I only had 40 pans. I was like, there's no one gonna show up. Like I was like an hour in, I was out of pizza. This was at the club.
They showed up.
Oh my God, everyone at the club was mad at me. Yeah. Like you were by yourself. I was like, well, yeah, no one promoted it, no one talked about it. And who were we? We were just some small brand.
Yeah.
And we had to call one of our guys, like, dude, you got to drive over here right now and bring me a bunch of stuff.
And the traffic was so bad.
Yeah.
That night.
People like left, like they were very upset because they'd been waiting a while.
Of course.
And then like it's going to be another while. So they bailed and I couldn't even get out of there. It was so busy, which was great. But yeah, we didn't plan correctly for that.
What's the club called?
LA Athletic Club.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And that's downtown.
Yes. Olive and 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when were you like, yo, it's time for a change?
From Crenshaw?
Yes.
Probably after the murder. There was a guy that got murdered.
Well, wow, okay. It was probably after the murder.
Yeah, it was the murder. This gentleman, it was gang on gang. They were going down Crenshaw. I think they were going north on Crenshaw. Shot into a car, shot this guy several times, and then he crashed into oncoming traffic on the southbound side. And no one else got hurt, luckily, in that incident. Could have gotten really bad, but yeah, there was essentially like a hit, and that individual died, unfortunately. But the cops shut the road down, for homicide. Yeah. So the drivers couldn't get in, and customers were like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "Everything's fine. Just here's your food." And
don't read the news.
It's all lies.
It's fake news.
It's fake news. It's not real.
The traffic lights down.
Yeah, I don't. There's a gas leak. So we figured that was gonna. We can't afford too many more of those incidents.
Yeah.
And also just not having, even if there was construction or something, would be a challenge.
Yeah, of course.
Just getting the drivers in, because we were really dependent on Uber Eats and DoorDash at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you? Because I didn't even know about this. You guys built out a commissary kitchen?
Yeah.
That you still own?
Yeah, we're still there. Yeah.
You're still there?
Yeah. We're unfortunately it's closed because of the roofing incident.
So is that part of your kitchen?
So it's full retail. It literally has a 103 square foot lobby. That's where we put those cabinets in.
Yeah.
And beverage fridge, display fridge there. Little kind of high top rail, like kind of like this. It literally is maybe like 3 of these wide. That's pretty much it. A couple bar stools. It has 5 dedicated parking spaces, 1 handicap space, and it's on the corner of PCH in Walnut. So it's like a very, very good location. That spot is our full build out, and we shut down the Crenshaw spot and then moved and then bought some new equipment and did a bunch of the build out for that spot.
So were you still running that as a ghost kitchen?
No, that's our brick and mortar now.
I know, but you mentioned a commissary.
So that commissary is the other 1,500 square feet.
So the whole total square footage is about 1,800?
The building is 2. I think we got about 1,559 or something like that is our total.
Okay, so your kitchen's pretty big.
It's pretty large.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you.
And that's all for you?
That's all for us.
Okay.
Yeah. So we could have maybe moved some walls, but we wanted to do no change of use for building safety and health department. It's just faster. Mm-hmm. And we're kind of like, here's your food, go away. Like we kind of just wanted you to be takeout, and also going to the beach, right? Because we're not too far from Redondo and PV.
Yeah.
So
it's a nice area. It's like in between Long Beach and Torrance, right?
Yeah. It's pretty cool over there. I mean, we have the only crime we have over there is like graffiti.
Yeah.
And there's no more shootings over there, which that's an upgrade for us.
Yes, I'd say so.
Yeah.
No murders.
No murders, not that we're aware of, or at least not on our street.
Yeah.
Right. So that was also, and then we have women in there of all ages that were working. So we had security concerns at Crenshaw. So that's the other thing, is we wanted to make sure we didn't have that. If we could try to minimize that risk.
How long did it take from closing or not working, or did you stay open at the Ghost Kitchen until finding this other spot?
That's a good question. Yeah, we did shut that one down and then did the move over. So I think we closed in April?
Yeah, I think it was less
This
than
year?
a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was
April.
less than a month.
Yeah, I think it was 30 days.
Oh, and then you were right in there.
Right in there.
Okay.
Yeah. That was, and then, but I think after we did the move, we were ready to submit our plan, right, to health department and all that. And then we paid for expedited service and that went pretty quick. And then the inspector came out and handled their business and then gave us the conditional use permit.
So it sounds so nice.
I was very surprised.
How quick that went.
I was waiting for something to happen, in this,
Unbelievable.
in LA, in this industry.
Yeah.
You're just ready to get kicked
Yeah, right in the nuts.
right in the balls.
Yeah.
At some point. So when it opened, I was like, oh, I don't really believe this. And then our first customer had pre-ordered 3 days in advance.
No, a week in advance.
Oh, a week in advance. At Friday, because we opened right at 4 on Friday.
Yeah.
And she ordered a week in advance. I think we called her like, hey, we're not open. She's like, oh yeah, this is.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna be outside.
Fucking ready.
And I was
I'm
like,
a Yelp elite. I'm coming for you.
a Yelp elite. Yeah, she was a doctor down at Kaiser, and she was like, no, don't refund it. She was our first order, so yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So why didn't you do Pizza City Fest the second year?
We were doing this build.
So you said, we don't
we're
got time.
fully focused on that. We were making some headcount changes. Some folks made it with us, and some folks didn't. They just probably, it was too far for them to. That's a pretty far drive from Crenshaw.
I was going to say, how much staff did you have with the Ghost Kitchen?
Were
you guys there all the time?
That we were no. Some nights we were there. Mostly me. Sometimes.
I mean, we
Bohan.
have a lot of part-timers.
Yeah, we had mostly part-time shifts because we weren't really open that much at Crenshaw. It was just dinner.
Yeah.
And it was like 4 to 9, kind of the same thing we did at the PCH location, 4 to 9, and then we were like Thursday through Sunday. That's all we did. And we used to do a lunch service, but that area it's hit or miss, and there's a lot of competition over there for sit down too. So a lot of people, if they want to get lunch, they want to sit down or they want slices, and we used to do slices, but we had too much food waste, and so we just quit doing that.
Respect.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell me a little bit about your dough. I'm hopefully I don't butcher this, but Hokkaido?
Like the island in northern Japan.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. It's
and that's a slow fermentation that is like
that bread.
Yeah.
When did we make that
excited. Hey, first of all, already the best guests we've ever had because I got gifted mezcal and bread, two of my favorite things: carbohydrates and more carbohydrates.
I like. We're the same.
And stuffed animals.
We're the same.
For my child.
Free toys.
Yes. I don't think it gets better than that.
I mean, anytime you get free booze, it's a good day.
I mean, it is going to be a good Monday.
Yeah. Free bread, though, that you can't buy. Like right now, no one can buy that bread.
I know. This is some hype shit.
It is. It's
I can
funny.
resell that online
People
right
get
now.
mad at us when we don't have it.
Yeah.
Because so it's the same as our pizza dough,
Okay.
that bread. That one, though, we made that dough.
That's some
Like
very
Thursday?
fluffy, airy pizza crust.
Yeah. So we have a proofer.
Okay.
Right? That's the reason why we do what we do. We have a little, we're trying to move as quickly to the automation for this, right? Probably going to China this year to look at manufacturing for the par bake process to actually weigh the dough, put the dough in the pan, put it into the proofer, and then get it to a rack oven.
Mechanically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it's a repetitive job, right? And repetitive job burns people out.
Yeah.
And consistency is also a challenge. But after they get into the groove, they're pretty good at it. But they just kind of burn out after 6 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Understandably.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dough is, so Hokkaido, which I get hockey dough, like people mispronounce it all the time. So thank you for pronouncing it correctly. It's pretty phonetic.
Fuck yeah.
We actually went to Japan. We went to Hokkaido, and Bohan actually had did her internship at Rakuten in Tokyo before she came to grad school here in the U.S.
Okay.
And we went out to Niseko because we snowboard, and went out there for a week, hung out in Sapporo. This is beautiful. Japan is amazing. It's the food, even like the gas.
I always wanted to go.
Oh, the gas station is delicious.
Yeah.
You're just like, why do I live?
It's like the opposite of America.
It's 100% the opposite. The people are nice, and it's so clean.
Yeah.
Everywhere is
the
clean.
opposite of Los Angeles. That's
It's
for
very,
sure.
yeah, when you come back, you're like, oh, it's sad. Like, it's so sad.
Yeah.
The weather is very similar. It kind of looks like that. There's mountains and beach and warm, clear water. And, you know, you have also the metropolis of Tokyo and all the big cities. But the food up there was amazing. The culture is amazing. And it was an homage to Japan. And then we have ambitions to open pizzas over there in Japan.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah, that's how we can pay for our own sponsorship for Visa, right? Just own a company over there.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So we don't have to worry about a job, right? We are the job, and then take our chances over there. We think we're gonna have to change the sizes, right? We can't be doing the 10 by 14. Maybe we could, but in China, I think that's the sizes are taking off. I think Japan though is still gonna be, you know, the 8 by 10 and maybe a 6 by 6.
Yeah.
I think is going to be more, which is cool too. That's not a big deal. And then still we just started doing round pie recently with.
I saw that on your menu. I almost think 8 by 10 is like the best bake in surprisingly. I don't know if it's just like that portion or the dough being that small, but I'll use the same dough recipe. But when I cook it in that small pan for like a pop-up, I just feel like the cheese melts better. Like there's less surface area. It comes out of the pan better. It looks better.
You got 4 corners.
Yeah.
Everybody wants 4 corners.
If your sausage needs aren't hitting all the right notes, then let Maestro lead the way. Maestro has been working closely with pizzerias for decades. They produce sausages designed specifically with pizzerias in mind. And you can tell, their Italian sausage crumbles look like they were handmade in your shop, and they will taste that way as well. With over 80 years in business, family owned and operated, the family is incredible, and so is their product. It's quality sausage with quality ingredients. Click the link in the show notes. A classical masterpiece awaits you. Back to the show.
We took the large, the 10 by 14 off the menu to focus on the 18.
Yeah.
And I thought they were going to stab us. Like people came in and yelled at us. Like, why? I don't want a round pizza. I want a large. And like,
Yeah.
Okay, so we brought it back.
Surprising.
Yeah.
And that was like that 2 weeks before we got closed.
Yeah.
The largest it was like so crazy. I couldn't believe how popular
customer
it
kept
was.
asking, you know, we want the large, the 10 by 14.
Well, they would ask her, they would yell at me. They were nice to her. They're like, what do you, because they're like,
Where's the guy with the mohawk? I want to yell at that
it
fool.
was his idea.
Yeah.
And it was. I was like, oh, we have to focus on the round pie. They're like, I don't come here for round pie. And I was like, well, you will soon once you've eaten it.
Yeah.
So we, same dough, perfected our real thin, high cornicione, 18-inch New York style. And we started selling a lot of that too. And we had just invested in a pizzarella from Marforni. So that was a big step up. You know, it's no joke. It's the press.
Yeah,
And,
the Prima.
Oh my God, those things work so amazing.
Well, it's not even this. Isn't there little electronic fingers?
There's like ball bearings in
Yeah.
there under that membrane. And you can adjust the rotation for RPM.
Yeah.
And we had it all dialed in. And then you do some hand stretching on the screen. So hold in place.
Yeah, because it only stretches it out to 14 inches, right?
It's trying to do the Italian Neapolitan size,
Yeah.
right? But we're misusing it to get us a little bit more.
Well, they try to sell it to you if you do 18-inch pizzas that like once you take it off the machine and you kind of like go like this and send it over to your paddle or the screen, then it's already at 18.
It's perfectly there,
Yeah.
and it doesn't require a lot of fuss. And then you can maintain the air in the cornicione, so it's nice and puffy.
Yeah.
And we par bake that. We oil and par bake that.
Par bake your
18.
rounds?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's actually much easier in terms of, because our dough is very soft, it's very low protein, so you can't muscle it, you can't do it like you can with higher gluten dough, it'll tear. And then also we're going for real thin, but we get the nice puff, and it makes it crispier.
Yeah, for the double
and
bake.
it's faster.
Yeah. And there's less training.
Oh yeah, so it was me.
So the hardest job in the restaurant to me is shelling and having the integrity of the slice go all the way through with the perfect crumb right into that crust. And then the second hardest job is being on oven on a Friday night when you're having to turn. That's why if there's two things I could do, I would get that dough press and then I would get that conveyor oven with the stone.
Oh yeah.
Both.
I agree. The deck
Fiero
oven
Forni.
is because that's what we've got.
Yeah.
But now they've increased, the technology has gotten
It's
better.
insane.
It's going to be pretty soon. You don't have to have a full kitchen staff, right? You're going to have management. That the management are the ones that make sure all the operations are running, but it's mostly managing the service contract.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get one of those for every piece of equipment that's automated. That's what we see the future in food, especially with minimum wage hike and burnout from people standing in front of a hot oven for 8 hours and getting yelled at from customers and management. Where's my pizza? This isn't crispy enough. It's burnt. So if you can get rid of the human error issue, which is not their fault, it's just they're a victim of the circumstance.
Yeah, no, and it's mainly because, especially in pizzerias, our business, 90% of our business comes in between 5 and 8 o'clock.
Everyone eats at the same time.
Everyone eats at the same time. So it's like when you take out all variables and you have 3 deck ovens with a stone that gives you the bake that you would out of a pizza master, and every pie is put in perfectly pressed, and then you have 2 people instead of 6 working. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
So much room.
Yeah.
For extracurricular activities.
I went and did a guest bake at Triple Beam, and I watched their setup, and they did with a conveyor and the way that they run their pies. I'm not going to go into how they do it because that's
their art.
That's their art.
Yeah.
But I watched 2 people do what 6 people. It takes 6 people to do here, and I was blown the fuck away. But it's like I also don't have $200,000 to redo my whole concept.
Your whole layout would change. Yeah.
But like hearing you talk about like automation with dough is like, that's the thing too. Everybody wants to get the rollers and the rounders and the portioners. But again, that's somewhere in between $20,000 to $50,000 for a really good one.
The Empire, those are high end, right? They're no joke. They're expensive. The dough divider, dough rounders, they're expensive. I mean, and it's also not solving the total automation problem. It's a now a fancy tool that's going to get you consistency.
Yes.
But you're still not eliminating the person who's put the dough in the hopper.
Yes.
Right. And make the dough and clean the mixer and all, like all the stuff we were just talking about. Right. The things that are not necessarily difficult or require a lot of training, but the other piece, then when the dough goes to the pizza and the pizza goes into the process, that's a unique skill set. I'm looking at your flour.
Karen Springs.
Yeah, we just use Sir Galahad.
Nice, beautiful flour.
It's good flour.
Yeah.
It's consistent.
Yeah.
And
King
then we
Arthur?
do some stuff with some pastry as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a mix. We actually just changed it up because flour was so expensive. We were using all organic flour, so all the bags were around $60 bucks.
$60?
Yeah,
Ooh.
per bag. So we actually just switched it up. We started using Trailblazer instead of the organic T85 espresso from Karen Springs. We still use their whole grain from Karen Springs, and then we were using Central Milling ABC and Central Milling High Mountain, all organic, and we've cut that, and now we're using King Arthur to supplement part of that recipe.
Right.
Because, dude, I was bashing my head in. I was like, I get 4 bags of flour for 1 bag of flour, and baking is so much more about like how you feel about the product that you're putting out.
Yeah. You smell it, touch
it. But I did 3 weeks of R&D, and I was like giving this new recipe, the same recipe with the different grains, and everyone's like, "Oh man." I wasn't telling them what I did. They were like, well, the sauce is a little sweeter on this one. They were saying everything but the dough.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, all right, I'm making the change.
They're not going to know.
No.
They're not
and
going to know.
And the consumer isn't going to know either.
Mm-mm. If you the recipe master can barely tell, some person who eats here once a week or once a month is never going to notice that you've changed flour.
Yeah.
And organic is great, but no customer ever wants to pay for the stuff that they say. They say they want vegan, they want high-end meat, they want the top of the line organic, this and that. They want, cheese from the god's cow from some mountain.
The virgin.
Yeah.
The virgin cow.
That gets massaged all day. They want Wagyu dairy or something.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, okay, well, this pizza's $130.
Yeah.
Well, you're crazy. And, here's a bad Yelp review. I'm Yelp elite.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm an elitist.
I'm an elitist,
That's what
but I'm not going to pay what it costs to actually make that product.
I have a huge problem with that, and it's been tough for me because like I've also seen people pay just the same amount or a little less than what they pay for my pizza, and I know what this person is using. And not that it's bad, but it's like, what's the difference for me to just spend way less, give the same product, and it's really just like my pride and ego taking the hit, because the customer is just gonna be like, yo, this is good either way.
And it's in their price range, right? So this is the thing that always kind of drives us crazy. And I'm sure we could spend like a day of talking about customers' gripes and complaints. I think when they say that they want to support that cause, they just mean on Instagram, like a like. They don't mean with their wallet, right? They're not going to come in and support small business. And in my opinion, because I mean, you see that kind of across the board. I mean, how many vegan restaurants have gone out, right?
Yeah.
The food is good. It's expensive because it's expensive to make quality, organic everything, right?
Yeah.
So you run into this conundrum where, are you a purist or are you a business? And those conflict, in my opinion. And we've had to make some concessions on some stuff, but we also we have other price options, right? Like our $14.99 for our small cheese pie, 8x10. That's pretty good. If you choose to order the Godzilla, which is the meat lover, and you want a large, that's $37.99. I didn't make you order that.
Yeah.
So if you go and complain about the price, it's not like I tricked you.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's there. I know, and that's the problem. It's like, it's on the menu.
Yeah.
Like, why are you after the fact being like $70 for 2 pies? It's like, yo, did I have your arm tied behind your back, like forcing you to press pay now?
And your phone has a calculator if you can't do the sales tax.
100%.
Right. So yeah,
or they're like, this costs $100, and it's like, well, you ordered on Postmates, so it's gonna be, the price is like almost 20% more. So
Easily.
the commission is paid back.
and the fees.
Yeah, and then there's like $10 to $15 of fees from them.
Right.
You're not getting the same pizza that you would if you came in and picked up yourself. You're paying for convenience.
There is there's definitely an education challenge, and this hats off to you and all the guests you've had on here. You talk about these things. I think this stuff should be discussed more openly. And I think customers, it's okay that they don't understand restaurant ops and the costs, right?
They shouldn't have to.
They shouldn't have to. But I think if you get confused about how DoorDash works, I mean, you could Google how DoorDash is more expensive than walk-in. And it does tell you, well, it's marked up 20 to 30% because that's what the store has to pay. The store is not going to eat the cost for you. There's just no way. Then they're just giving food away.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for customers to understand what the food margins are for pizza, right?
Yeah.
On a good day, you want to be 20, 25%. But if you're eating percentages on delivery and you're eating percentages on storefront marketing and all that's increasing your COGS. So, we try to float around 30, 35. That's our price point, and that's where we stay at. And we try to make automation save on labor so that the pizzas don't become more expensive with inflation. That's how we're trying to adjust, but that's an initial CapEx too, right? We got to do a CapEx investment to get that piece of equipment in there, right? And then how long is it going to depreciate? How do we actually?
Yeah, because that's not a cheap piece of equipment.
No, and commercial stuff's all expensive because it's meant to be used 5, 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully with very little maintenance. But that's not always the case. So trying to educate customers on that's a challenge.
Yeah, well, you nailed it where it's like, if you want to have great food that doesn't come out of a bag or put into a fryer, or you want to do organic, it is constant education, but really like even educating or saying something about it every day on social media. People might care on social media, but when they come in here and they look at the price, they want their food fast and they want it low priced.
That's right. Yeah.
That's what they care about. And especially, I feel like more than ever, people are holding on to their wallets a little bit tighter. The economy is not in the greatest place. I mean, I've had more friends in the last year get laid off, and I've never had friends ever get laid off. So I know that the restaurant industry is struggling, but I know that other people and other industries are struggling as well. It's just, if you want good food, it has to be priced appropriately, and you can go get a $5 hot and ready, but you're getting what you pay for.
100%. That's accurate. I think also customers should be, if you want premium food, maybe you should adjust your portion size, right? Like Europe, like Asia and Japan. They will serve you a really good piece of meat. You're not getting a 32 ounce ribeye.
Yeah.
Right? They're giving you a piece of meat that you probably should be eating. And there's the rule: you should only eat to 80% full. Right?
Yes.
You shouldn't be gorging yourself every meal. But in America, you've been sold this vision that you could just eat large volumes and have zero impact to your health and to the economy and to society. But also now it's just like, so every meal is, I have to eat to 150% capacity.
Yeah.
And I should be able to pay for a meal that's, McDonald's price. It's funny you mentioned that. I price out pizzas on the Domino's app, just add all the modifiers. They cost as much or more.
I know when people say that, it's like, yo, they literally, a 14-inch Domino's pizza costs almost the same as my 18-inch after delivery.
Yeah.
And another thing people don't understand with pizza too is like, maybe it's because you grew up eating Domino's or like some shit that just like was fast and easy, but like pizza has changed. Mm-hmm. There is Artisan pizza, and there's a difference between those things. But when you order an 18-inch pizza or even like a 10 by 14 square, this is enough for 3 to 4 people. And if you're spending $37 for 4 people, that's pretty good. That's pretty good margin for you.
If you're you're right. If you can get a meal of that quality, also if you eat Domino's, Pizza Hut, Chick-fil-A, all of that stuff that's out there, I think a few exceptions might be In-N-Out, just in terms of the quality of the product.
Yeah.
How does your gut feel? How do you feel after you've eaten a Domino's pizza or a Pizza Hut pizza versus eating a pizza from Hot Tongue or a pizza from Schellz? Because of our fermentation schedule and because of how we do, we use real food. We don't use a lot of preservatives. We're using pure product. You don't feel thirsty. You're not oversaturated in sodium. You can go to the bathroom in the morning, right? You like just
you can like live your life and not want to take a nap or die. My wife
just chugging water.
My wife will eat a meal and be like, "Oh, it's so good. I'm so bloated." And I was like, "Well, I don't know how good that meal was."
It up here it was good.
Yeah.
But down here, it's just like, what did you do to me?
Yeah.
Like, and then you're fighting it out and farting it out all night. So
which is not a good feeling.
No. So like every time I always say that to people, I'm like, depends on how much mezcal you've had at the counter, because sometimes we do some pours with the customers. They want to cheers us or toast us. I'm a little bit more profane. Like, if you eat this, you'll be able to take a big dump tomorrow. And they're like, what? And then they come back like a week later, like, dude, like we're here.
Dude, I took the biggest dump. You were right, man. It's like a dough biotic.
I found my car keys. Like,
Oh my gosh. Well, let's talk about the situation that you're in right now, because it's kind of a bummer. You're closed right now.
Yeah, we're closed. This was August 20th. The landlord had decided he wanted to remodel the roof. I think it was at that point in time where the roof needed some work. It might have had some leaks in the past. I'm not sure, because we hadn't gone through a full rainy season.
And you told me that you want to purchase the building?
Yeah, we were interested in purchasing the building.
Is that a possibility?
I think so. We'll see how this kind of plays out. If not, that's kind of what we're looking for, because the landlord retail thing is not advantageous, because if your pizzeria changes the neighborhood, you've increased the property value, but you just get charged more rent.
Yeah.
And commercial real estate's in deep trouble everywhere in this country. They're overly leveraged. A lot of them used ARMs. Like a lot of people that bought commercial real estate, investors used adjustable rate mortgages. So those all reset. Those ones are like 10, 20 years ago. Those are all resetting right now. So that's in the news. So there's going to be deals to have. But if you go around, you see a lot of lease, office space for lease, retail for lease. A lot of it's open. So our thought was, if we're going to be serious about 10 to 20 years, which is really, how long you kind of need to play out of a restaurant space. And then if it doesn't work, you can always change the model, change the theme, bring in a new customer, divide the place, whatever you want to do, or just sell the property.
Have more control.
You have more control.
Yeah.
For remodel, for repair. That was the angle. And so I think the landlord's, good faith effort was to get the roof repaired before the rainy season, so we don't also have any interruption. Unfortunately, the project just wasn't scoped properly, and all the roofing debris fell into our kitchen. So it was, we had tar everywhere. It's in the HVAC system. We have all sorts of roofing debris and that gravel sediment. It's everywhere, and little black dots of this and that. It's really hard for them to get it out of the building, and we can't really open the spot right now. So we had to lay everybody off last week. which is a big bummer because you invest in these employees,
of course,
and you care about them,
and relationships, and
you feel really bad.
They depend on you. You depend on them.
Yeah, there's not like they also don't get like a tech severance package. No, they don't get a golden parachute. No. This is the restaurant life is tough like that. And it would be great if we had an insurance plan that would allow for that. We're like, okay, so if you do go out of business, you can pay your employees 3 months or 8 weeks or 6 weeks or something like that, and the insurance will cover it. But we're dealing with insurance right now with our underwriter, and I know Bohan has some thoughts on that.
Yeah.
On insurance.
Yeah. So dealing with insurance, it's been a month since we has closed, and then the insurance is just very slow in their response as they always do. So I went ahead and commented on their Instagram, I don't want to do it, as business owner running a pizza shop, I don't want a customer to go to Yelp, go to public to complain. We always like an opportunity for customer to, have a direct conversation to see who can fix the problem. But that was not the case for us. We have been emailing them like every other day, just no response. And then it worked from commenting on Instagram.
Like an hour later.
Yeah.
The adjuster responded with a...
Can you say what insurance agency is?
Yeah, we can say, right? Yeah, it's public. It's a public comment. Coterie. Yeah. Coterie is our insurance.
So you just went to a post, like their Instagram
posts, page. Yeah.
Their first post, and said, "Yo, I've been like trying to hit you up."
It was the post that where their CEO was talking about their upcoming features of the products.
Okay.
Yeah, he's doing his
and
job.
You're calling him out.
And we're saying, hey, man, we're a customer. The customer service, maybe needs a little bit of help here. Maybe that's a feature you should talk about.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, I mean, they say social media is the fall of humanity, but it sounds like it's working. It works some wonders there.
It's weird how I guess because they're trying to get in front of it, and that's the first place the complaints kind of end up now. It becomes your crazy triage, right? I think it kind of makes it up. But it usually is a result of the frustration of not getting direct communication from the people. Mm-hmm. And they could be overworked. Again, this is the CEO's problem. It's his management team. If your employees are overworked and they can't respond, or their service level agreement, their SLA is 2 weeks or 4 weeks, you should be transparent, right? Don't say it's in the contract. We don't have time. We're a small mom and pop pizzeria. We can't.
You need help now.
Yeah, and just a response, right? Are you guys going to help us cover these losses?
Yeah.
Or do we have to take other actions? And we also, we've got rent due. We have utility costs. Like the machine still operates even though we're not in there.
So they helped. They've helped.
They responded.
Oh.
Okay.
They haven't told us any good news yet. So.
And how long has it been?
It was
a month.
It's been 4+ weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So is it when something like this happens to your restaurant? Is it like a car accident where you open up a claim?
Yeah.
And you're like, here's what happens.
That was
because
tough.
a claim for your car. It could take a couple of days or a week, but that money's coming in to get your car fixed within 2 weeks.
Rentals covered usually. Yeah.
But you guys haven't gotten anything.
No money, nothing, no response. The adjusters, they sub out the adjuster to come out from Davies. They'll come out, and they've been pretty supportive. But they're also getting kind of stiff arm from the underwriter or the carrier. So that's the challenge. So they're even the folks that are in the field doing the adjustment, doing their inspection and everything, they face that problem. So Bohan and I have been talking to the adjuster and then trying to get in touch with the underwriter, the carrier, and. Yeah. It's been a challenge. So we'll see what happens this week. But
it's crazy to think about just because I know how much I pay for insurance. And if I was waiting 4 to 5 weeks for help when I've paid my insurance on time for the last 3 years and 8 years somewhere else, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah, it's weird. The mezcal helps. And
dude,
then
mezcal always helps.
It helps.
Dude. Matt knows that too.
Funny,
we've had some
days at home. You'll hear yelling, because we're not yelling at each other. It's just cathartic.
Yeah,
you're
of
course.
Just
got to yell about the situation, and then I don't know. She's mad at me, but I'm never mad at her. But usually it's like, okay, that felt good. We just yelled about a bunch of stuff that is going on, and then you start to become a little bit more thick-skinned and immune.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have underlying grievances that are not being resolved.
Well, doing the build out here and having no control really of that industry or how things went, it really taught me that when things are, legitimately out of your hands, like even as frustrating as they are, there's no point in like, because there's always, they could do this or it should be this way or blah, blah, blah. And all that does is just send you to an early grave.
It's wasted energy.
Yeah.
And you don't sleep well.
Yeah.
You know, you may not treat people around you nicely.
Yeah, because you're
just to murder somebody
all the time.
Yeah. That vibe has helped. So Bohan's like, she's pretty good at surfing, so she's got us back in the water, which is also, the fear of drowning will take that thought right out of your head. So you pay attention to being in the water as opposed to thinking about the insurance or the roof and all that stuff. So that's pretty helpful. So finding an outlet that's healthy is good. Then of course, if that doesn't work, just drink some mezcal.
Yeah. Yes. Just resort to alcoholism. That's what I've been doing for 39 years. The restaurant itself, is it still got shit all over it?
It's cleaned. They cleaned it
up.
But the debris continues to fall. That's the problem.
So, and are they still working on the roof?
The roof is complete.
It's complete. They did it. It's done.
But when
the aftermath is the problem,
it's in the substructure. It's in the HVAC. It's also like the roof is so complicated. So like whatever that debris is continuing to fall, and then it eventually makes it through the tiles and onto the floor. But we've had the earthquakes, right? And they shake, and then big trucks shake the ground. That shakes debris. So you see
cleaning up all over again.
They've remediated a couple times, and then like we just keep coming in and looking, and then we can show you video from yesterday. I mean, we'll show it to you after this, but it was. You can hear the tingles on the PVC tiles, just like you can hear it falling.
So, like, what is the plan?
We can't talk about that on the podcast. Okay. But we have a plan. Yeah, all right. We have a plan, and we're also waiting to see what insurance is going to do. Right, that kind of tells us really the next step is insurance is going to say, this is what we're going to cover your losses or 90% of your losses, and or no, we hate you and we're going to make you sit in purgatory.
We are a terrible insurance company, and we are going to give you the least amount of money possible because that's what we do.
We hate veteran and Asian American female-owned mom and pop businesses. So, that's the sentiment in LA is like, if you're a small guy here anyway, they're just like, did you pay your taxes? Did you give me all the stuff that you're supposed to pay to open? And you're like, yeah. But hey, well, what's up with all this stuff over here? Like the RV encampments and there's illegal food stalls everywhere. Well, they didn't pay. So we're not paying attention to them.
Oh no, they don't have permits. So we don't know anything about that.
We don't see it either.
Yeah, no, those guys are cool.
As they're eating a taco or a hot dog.
That's what, and then going into their RV. I'd be like, dude, I fucked up. I should have got an RV. Should have moved my family into that thing and just set up a pizza shop right next to it.
Drain your sewage right down into the drain.
Yeah.
I mean,
welcome to Los Angeles, baby.
That's right. It's the
GTA 5 out here.
The Wild West.
That's right. Back. That's right.
Yeah. So I think we're hoping that we can get back in and open. But it's always nice to have a break, but this is not the break you want because we're just getting moving. And, once you get that machine well oiled and you start turning money out.
Yeah. You guys are right in the beginning of having the brick and mortar.
Yeah.
Like it must have been devastating. Yeah.
Yeah. It still hurts. Like you're pretty, you're pretty pissed. Like, but then you just drive in traffic and you're like, I'm just mad at this now. Right.
Concentrate your anger on something else.
I need distractions, periodically. And then, cause then when I get an email from the insurance or the landlord, I'm like, then,
you're right back in.
Yeah. Just veins bulging out of your head.
I know how that goes.
Yeah.
So you don't know what the future holds there?
No, we are not going to abandon. We might abandon LA. Yeah, that's an option. We're kind of looking at maybe China. Yeah, like because the demand for Western food is there. Potentially Japan, or just keep it easy and go to Orange County, right? Because everybody.
I was thinking China, Japan, or maybe Orange County.
Whatever, because we're both. We have some lazy tendencies, right? So like, what's easier to do? But also we've invested in all this equipment and stuff.
Of course.
It's like, we want to get it back to work, and we have a brand that we built. It takes a while to build. You got to be consistent. You just got to be consistent in your product. And we thought maybe Orange County might be a better option for us if we can't stay here. The taxes are lower. There's still bureaucracy. It's a big city, right?
Yeah.
Big county. But in terms of competition, right?
Less competition.
The W-2s are better down there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's coming for you.
They don't
San
complain
Diego.
about price down there.
Yeah.
They like value and they also like good product.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know much about the high-end restaurants. I mean, I do, but there's a lot of really kind of subpar average food down there.
Yeah.
And we think we would do really well there.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah. And we think also might be easier to find the employees because it's really hard for employees unless you live around where you work. You know, most places are pretty expensive for rent, just for, you know, for a small family or an individual. So
yeah.
if they have to come an hour commute, that's asking a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's a variable, they may not make
And
it in
no
on
parking.
time. Yeah, and then no parking.
You got to make it as easy and convenient as possible.
Yeah.
That's what you got to sell now is convenience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Convenience, time in your life back.
Yeah.
Right. Time wear and tear and gasoline costs are down, you know, and also if you can pull that off, but that's why there's no good restaurants in Century City. There's just high-end condos and country club. But when the weekend comes, there's no one at work. So no one's going to eat at those restaurants.
Yeah.
So, and also the rent's sky high. So, you know, you're spending $20,000 a month, you know, on rent for 1,500 square feet. That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pizzas you gotta sell.
Yes, a shit ton.
Yeah.
And you better be pricing them right. $65 pizzas.
Yeah, $65 pizzas or $100 family pack, whatever you can move, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And then to go back, because we kind of skipped over it.
I think I did mention about Hokkaido, right? You wanted to know.
Yeah, like we started talking about the dough process.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah,
I
no, I know,
purpose.
but because like, is it like a sourdough situation?
So we use a pre-ferment.
Yeah.
It's a poolish.
Okay.
It's over 100% in terms of hydration. Not a big deal. It's usually 24 to 48 hour pre-ferment. We have our blends, just like everyone does. Mm-hmm. We have a two-stage mix process, which I learned from Noel Broner back during the COVID era. So I did some classes.
You did his class?
Yeah, I did his class.
I gotta talk to that.
Yeah, Noel's cool, man. He's everywhere all the time. If you can find him, right? Because he's always traveling and he's going. You know, he's the pizza doctor or whatnot. So or dough doctor. And then I just didn't use any of his recipes. We just did our own thing with our own blends, and that's when we kind of discovered that par bake was really good for our style of dough. We could make cinnamon rolls with our dough. We can make the bread with our doughs. We actually did dinner rolls for the holidays, and I hand rolled 60 dozen. I was so.
That sounds fun.
Well, it is when you have mezcal, but after a while, I was like, dude, I'm so.
On like the 30th dozen, dude, just woo.
Carpal tunnel, that's when I need more mezcal. I think I was texting Noel. I was like, hey, how much is a dough roller? Like, he's like, dude, they're like 15 to 20 grand. I was like, I need one for 75 grand. He's like, you got to call Surface, and I was like, I don't have time for that. Like, I need help now. And we sold out of those. So so the dough is.
Do you have a roller too?
No. Just for the round pie we use they call it the pizza spinner. But for the dough process, we have a really long fermentation schedule. It's roughly 4 days, but on some customers, mostly for friends and family, that dough is like 8 days.
I mean, when it feels that light and airy, and like, I mean, it's a block. You gave me a loaf of bread, like it's
13-inch.
Yeah, that's not surprising that it's that long in fermentation.
It has great shelf life as well. So the reason why I think we kind of focus on and we named the dough recipe is because we actually own the Circle R on that from the patent office. That's our trademark. So the trademark is Hokkaido.
Whoa.
So Schellz Pizza is to evangelize Hokkaido.
Yeah.
So we have a long-term kind of, this goes back to the tech background of like, how do we scale an operation and then how do we become successful? And then who are we going against? I don't look at like Pizzeria Say or Hot Tongue or Bianco is competition. I look at them as enablers to changing the problem in the pizza industry, which is the big brands, Papa John's, Domino's, Pizza Hut. They sell poison. It's garbage food.
Yeah.
It's not much cheaper than ours. And it's also, it's just not delicious. So if That's what we feel we're going after is the big brand. So we want a lot of what they call fortressing, which is what Domino's refers to as small retail. Maybe no beer and wine, just grab and go pickup spots, right? More automation in the back of the kitchen, and then commissary. So the proof of concept is to demonstrate the POC will show, which is like 2 or 3 small locations scattered through wherever we're located.
Yeah.
And then I can go raise a round of money. I can go do a Series A and do a substantial warehouse build to build a proper commissary to support with trucking, delivering all that. So we have the logistics down, but you can't do that with $500,000 or $1 million. You're going to need 10, 20, $30 million, and you're going to need the time to build that out. So in between, just build the brand, get the food consistency down, add some cool stuff like bread and dinner rolls and some desserts.
But go back to Hokkaido. So Hokkaido is what we envision as the parent. And then, as he said, Schellz Pizza is a way for us to showcase Hokkaido. Hokkaido bread is another product.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a Hokkaido bakery, Schellz Bakery, no pizza. But, the dough is the venue.
Yeah, so it can be bigger than just toppings on pizza.
Yeah, and there's...
It's the
we got to call it like a real baker who's like accustomed to baking all sorts of different bread. Like I made a boule last night in the Dutch oven, which gives you like that nice crispy outside.
Yeah.
You didn't see that bread I left you?
I did.
Oh, you did? Oh.
Yeah, of course.
I wrote her a note on the whiteboard tonight, but I saw the bread wasn't cut, so I was like, oh, she didn't see the sign. Yeah. So I made that last night at like 10:30 because if we can find ways to demonstrate more use of Hokkaido, that becomes the vessel that we sell to private equity, or it just becomes its own thing, and then they don't need me, right? We can hire a CEO, we can hire C-levels to come in and run the operation, and then we become the spokespeople or the tiger team that gets deployed for new builds in other countries, right? And it has to be in areas where there's ski resorts, where the snow is good, or the surf break is good and it's not overcrowded. Because if we're going to work this hard, we should get some rewards from this system, right?
Yeah.
So right now it's all busting knuckles and cutting fingers, early stage garage days pizza.
Yeah.
So
you guys have a very different perspective than most pizza shop owners who do not have kind of this vision that it sounds like you have, maybe from being in the tech world, or like understanding like exactly where and what you want to do with your brand. I mean, that's obviously got to be something that's very helpful for this vision, that background.
Bohan said that was the difference between us and other restaurant owners in the food industry is a lot of people grew up in that space and they never had a chance to work in another industry. And, we were very fortunate to have worked in that space. Didn't know that at the time, but you always learn from experience anyway. And so that experience is definitely super helpful. And it also helps us to understand the business of owning a pizzeria, right? Which is, it's not all fun in making pizza, right? It's a business. You got to be tight on your numbers. You got to make sure you don't overspend. You got to make sure you don't go into debt. There's just so many variables you're trying to control with a limited budget, right? And at the same time, customers are telling you yay or nay all the time, and then you're trying to make sure you're consistent enough to keep the ones that say yay and then eliminate the nays so they don't come back, or they come back and become yay.
Yeah.
Right. That's a different challenge. And so if we look at it from a software user experience, kind of similar, right? Are they going to use your app or not?
Yeah.
And why are they going to use it? Okay, well, it's free. Does it produce value? Yes. Okay, then the app stays on the phone or on your laptop or what have you. That's a different perspective, I think, and we're pretty fortunate in that. And then eventually, we think we could probably do, if this proves out to be successful, we could be incubators for other folks that want to do that, but don't have the experience, right, to kind of pull that off, or the vision, because they don't see the options out there.
Well, yeah, because I think somebody who gets into it or who has been into it, they kind of do everything backwards. They get the restaurant open, and then maybe there's an opportunity for the second one, but there's never really like everyone's kind of just like flying by the seat of their pants. An opportunity comes up, and it's like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. I'll open up another one, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck am I doing? And you kind of know what you're doing, but no one really knows what they're doing. I mean, it sounds like you have a very clear idea of where you'd like to see the brand, which is, I think, something that's hard for a lot of like new or even older restaurant owners.
I agree. That's a very good point. I think a lot of people, you just get consumed on the process and the work, right? And the headaches and all the problems that come with that. And when you're trying to run 1, 2, or 3 operations, and so you're just going to throw people at it. That's what we see, right? And that's really the option, unless you can find automation or you can build some process in where you can have a freezer stashed full of pizza shells, which is what we do for par bake, right? So we know we have an age limit of about 8 weeks on the pizza shell. And we know that we can also par bake and freeze the round pies. Those are a little trickier because you can't squish them. But in the Detroit style, we have the option to have a warehouse that just produces pizza shells all day and then drives them out for delivery. And then the quality is not impacted. So our pizza is actually better par baked than it is. It's actually better frozen and par baked than it is fresh dough. It's way better. It's like crispier. The flavor's better. It's lighter, right? Because it's less moisture. It holds its shape. You can put it loaded up on toppings. And so if you're constantly worried about operational side, you can't focus on the strategy. And that's what we see as the big problem in the food industry. So that's where we think automation is really going to save a lot of people a lot of pain and anguish.
Yeah, I agree.
And you got to make the automation cheap. So that means you probably have to put it on a lease and service subscription, right, for some of this stuff. So we've kicked around the idea of building a Detroit par bake pizza machine. So you could just lease the machine or give us your dough recipe and we just make the shells for you with your dough, right? That's an option as well.
I mean, to be able to do that, like, because people do that with sauce, they do that with blend, like spice blends. To be able to just give somebody my dough recipe and be like, yeah, just deliver me the shells, like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Because you know what, it's making the dough, whatever, taking it out of the bin, doing the folds, letting it proof. But everyone, you know what everyone hates is pushing them out.
Oh yeah.
If there was a machine that like pushed a fucking dough ball out perfectly to a 10 by 14 thing and baked perfectly
Dumped
every time,
in,
so
proofed.
that there's cheese, those cheese crowns and the frico was sick every time.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would pay for that.
That goes to now putting the first proper Detroit style in the grocery store at scale.
Oh yeah,
right.
Because you don't see that.
You can develop the foil wrapper or whatever. Now that technology exists for all sorts of different cooking appliances, including microwave. But obviously, best would still be the home oven, or the toaster oven or air fryer. We thought about that as well. What we're trying to do, though, is pitch the vision that there's some meat on the bone for private equity to go screw up, right? They're going to, we have this big operation and this great brand, and then let's go bleed it dry. Or let's enable this success. And like, here's the meat on the bone, meaning you have this other vessel. You have this other piece of business. So we're slowly kind of figuring out how we pitch it, because that's also how we would have to talk to the investors for Series A.
Yeah.
Is to give them that vision.
Yeah, because it has to be bigger than, like, anyone who really invests in a restaurant is kind of an idiot.
Or they're famous.
Yes. Well, or they have a
or they have a
shit ton of money. It's like usually like, because you don't make a ton of money off of a restaurant, like, unless you own a bunch of them, and really your margins are still pretty slim. You can live, maybe at one point buy a house in LA, maybe never.
Yeah.
But really, people that invest usually just have a lot of money. They kind of need to put their money somewhere, and they just want to say that they are part owners of a restaurant.
It's so funny. You're exactly right. They also are so diluted because they're famous today, but in 5-10 years they may not be, or they might be falling off the map. I don't want to say on the podcast what Bohan said about our first celebrity customer, but she didn't know who he was because she's too young. Like, she didn't know who he was, and he had been messaging us on Twitter. I told him the story. He's like my age, so I'm 47. He's like 46 or 45. But I told him, I was like, yeah, my wife didn't know who you were. I'm sorry. He was messaging us Twitter. And then I was like, Bohan, how long has he been messaging? He's like, a couple weeks. Like,
he's like, you're messaging. Beep.
Yeah, and she showed it to me, and then I was like, well, respond. She's like, oh, who is this? And then I showed her the movie. She's like, I've never even seen this movie.
I've never even heard of this.
I've never heard of this guy.
That's probably better that way.
Yeah. Then he came to the loft downtown, and then the order was late because back then I only had like 2 pans.
Yeah.
And he ordered like 4 pizzas. And so I was like trying to reload it.
Oh, God, that sounds terrible.
He was cool, though.
I'm sure he was.
With his newborn and his wife, they were just sitting in their car outside on the street.
I know who you're talking about, and he is a good dude.
He was really cool. Yeah. He was And then, yeah, we had some like dialogue back and forth after. And then, I don't know, you probably can't eat that stuff. Like when you're getting ready to do film shoots and all that, right? Because they're always like cutting weight.
Jacked, yeah,
they're cutting weight and trying to not look fat on camera.
I'm on my 3 weeks of Ozempic.
Yeah, he's turned himself into a raisin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our first celebrity experience. But, you know, we see these, they think that, oh, if I invest in this restaurant, I put my name on there, but you don't look like you eat the food. We never see you there. So a lot of them turn to the liquor. Like everyone is selling liquor. Yeah. And garbage liquor. It's not even good. So, which, you know, good luck to them. They'd probably be okay. Clooney did pretty good on his exit.
They sold that.
It's a few billion.
Casamigos, they did real well with that brand.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of others that are doing a gin or a rum or a vodka. That's been going on for a long time. And I guess maybe the distribution angle makes sense and they can show up to a bar or a club and then everybody wants to see them. Yeah. But, you know, when they don't know who you are or, you know, your product's not that good. Yeah. Good luck, right? Now, so they usually sell out before that dumps, right? So they get out and their financial advisors plan that. For us, the celebrity angle makes sense. I mean, it happened Dave's Hot Chicken, right? Celebs invested early stage there. And then, you know, they probably didn't get the best exit on package, but, you know, they sold out and made some money. Yeah. And now it's, you know, it's a different machine altogether. You could argue the food has changed too. Of course. The same, right? Yeah. But, that's where PE and investment, it's a business now, right? So they just try to leverage the brand and push it into markets where the price is going to work for that W2, that base, and then turn the volume on. Yeah. Turn the volume up. Yeah. All right. One final question for both of you. Who is the greatest recording artist or band of all time to you? Hers is going to be Chinese musician.
Yeah, probably.
Who? Hit me with this. Hit me with the sick Chinese musician. We'll listen to him in the back when you leave.
Yeah, his Chinese name is Zhou Jielun.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay, I'll Google that.
We'll she'll send you the link on Instagram.
Yeah.
What kind of music?
Pop.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Have they been around for a long time?
Yeah, since I was in primary school. Okay. Yeah, he's still around.
Is he like Justin Bieber?
I would argue he's probably one of the first pop singers that actually really bring Chinese song to a different level in terms of, you know, it's still pop but has a lot of traditional Chinese elements in it. Okay. All right. Say it again one more time. Zhou Jielun. Okay. If I Googled like biggest pop star in China, is he probably the biggest? Yeah. Okay. I believe so. All right. Probably Pink Floyd. Nice. I would think Bob Marley is up there. Pink Floyd is probably the go-to all the time. So, yeah, for me. What about you? It changes every day, but like the two bands that I probably listen to the most in my life have been Daft Punk and Mac DeMarco, and then Dave Matthews. I have to admit, Daft Punk. I'm going to go with Daft Punk today. Daft Punk, amazing. Did you ever get to see them live? I saw live when they were on the Alive tour. Oh, the 2007 with the Pyramid tour. I saw them the first time they did it at Coachella, accidentally. I went to the Atmosphere, and then I was like, let's go check out Daft Punk, and it was fucking insane. Yeah. And then I saw them again in Vegas. Oh, I missed them. I didn't get to see them. Oh my God. It was, that was like a life-changing event both times. I felt the same way when I saw Sigur Rós the first time. Mm-hmm. I was like, whoa, this is amazing. This was so cool. I saw him at Copley Symphony Hall, I think in San Diego the first time, and was just completely blown away by just how powerful the music is. Yeah. But Daft Punk. Live too. Yeah. Yeah, because they're working. Yeah. They're not press play. They're doing stuff up there. I also think Third Eye Blind is one of the greatest bands of all time. You look like the lead singer. Stephen Jenkins. Yeah. Hopefully I'm a little nicer than he is. But is he a jerk? He's like a huge douchebag, which I think I actually love that for him too. But that's funny. I've seen them play at the Greek, and he's still really good. And this songwriting, and they had one of the smallest indie albums ever recorded. I think Self-Titled was an independent
independent record when it came out with Semi Charm Life.
It went gold or
that was
something, right?
Oh, it went huge. It was one of the biggest independent selling records of all time. But Out of the Vein and Blue were also good. I don't know, like those Coldplay's pretty good too, you know?
Yeah?
I don't know, I could keep going, but it's hard to pick one.
Yeah.
Usually people have a problem with it. Pink Floyd, I saw Pink Floyd at the Bowl. The first week I was out here, somebody invited me.
Oh, the Roger Waters
Yes.
tour? Yeah.
Holy shit.
There's no David Gilmour.
No.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is when Roger Waters having his meltdown. Like, you know, he has his strong opinions on stuff. And
He does.
He's a little weird too. But
I was there for all. I mean,
I was at that show.
I love it.
USC. When they were played at SC.
Mm-hmm.
I went to that one and they had the plane on the cable and everything.
Yeah, they had a pig.
The pig,
at
the big pig.
When I went, yeah.
And the wall.
Uh-huh.
They're breaking down the blocks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good set.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He skipped a lot of the Gilmour stuff.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
And he kept yelling about, this is a song I wrote.
He's a bit of a Stephen Jenkins himself.
Yeah. That's what I hear. Yeah.
Well, y'all, thank you so much for making the time to come up here. Thank you for the mezcal and for the Hokkaido bread. I'm going to drink and eat all of it.
Yeah, you should. Thank you for the time
Thanks
and
for
thanks for
having
the
us.
invite.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
I hope you enjoyed that episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much.